I'd always been interested in politics, and actually the late Lord King and my father had always, probably since 2000, saying, you know, you should definitely do an MP or become a councillor, you should get involved in politics. And I was like, well, no, I don't think I'm ready. And when I did try to get involved in the local branch, I faced a lot of opposition and a lot of barriers, and I thought, goodness, I can't be dealing with this kind of stuff, really, it's not for me. And then I remember, you know, my dad saying that actually we need to see more young Sikh women coming forward, because actually if you don't come forward, if you don't have that voice, then actually we're not being represented. And, you know, your sociology background, you suddenly start thinking, actually, yes, if you want to make a difference, you've really got to be, you know, in politics, really, in whichever way. So I met my husband at work, actually. And he's a social worker, he's a manager for children's services as well in Sandwell at the moment. And so we got married in 2009. You know, my husband was very much, well, I want to have this very peaceful marriage, uncomplicated, you know, no kind of hassle kind of thing. You married the wrong woman. You know, yeah, so when I told him, I remember Lord King coming to speak to me and saying, look, it was one of those kind of really strict conversations, like, look, you really must do this kind of thing now, and you know, it's not that you've got a choice. And I was like, okay. And actually I really wanted to do it. It was just that you worry about all the other sort of parameters and barriers that you face along the way. So I told my husband, and my husband was like, oh my goodness, does that mean people are going to be knocking our doors? What does this mean? And I was like, no, it doesn't mean that. And so, and then he was like, well, okay, if that's what you want to do, you've got my support, which really counts for a lot, and it matters, because actually I can't do half the things that I do now, and I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for my husband, actually, and the support he's given me. So I remember my election, you know, my dad was out there campaigning with me. You know, I remember Lord King and I going around meeting lots of different community members, you know, and it's almost like with Bhai Good Goodbye, it just happened, you know, I don't know how it happened. I had a lot of support locally as well from the leader of the council at that time as well. But yeah, so I feel really privileged, and I got elected in 2012. I had my first daughter in 2010. And my second one in 2011. So yeah, so that was quite a interesting time, sort of then jumping into politics as well. So I got re-elected last year, and I became the Cabinet Member for Public Health and Protection. You know, I've got a brilliant leader, Steve Ealing. He's just absolutely very supportive. You know, giving me that opportunity has been huge for me in a lot of ways. I think, because it's the first Sikh woman that's been a cabinet member in Sandwell's history. That's huge. But I think for me, I needed to have that push really to do something different out of my comfort zone. And looking at public health and the impact public health has on people's lives has just been phenomenal. So there's a lot of things that I've been really keen to do. So I'm the mental health champion for Sandwell. But we've tried to be really innovative in terms of how we tackle alcohol misuse in Sikh Punjabi community, because we know it's there. We know that the evidence says there's liver disease as a result of that. So it's how we engage Gurdwara and how we make sure our services link in with our faith organisations, as opposed to just providing a sort of general offer. So for me, I think it's really important, that thing about why is it important to be represented. Well, actually, you understand communities and evolving communities. You know, Smethwick has seen a whole migration of Sikhs coming from Italy, from Afghanistan, you know, but actually we've seen a migration from people all over. And it's making sure that people feel that they've got a voice and that they're represented. So for me, I don't only challenge myself, but challenge officers and my other colleagues about actually what we do, does it really affect the people that we're here to try and serve? And I think that's really, really important. And that's why I want to see more people come forward in politics. It's, you know, I started my journey in 2012. Unfortunately, I lost my father in 2014 and I lost Lord King 2013. So that was quite, I think for me, you know, they spent 10 years telling me to become getting into politics. I got into politics and actually I lost them both, you know, consecutive years really, and that was quite difficult. But what's interesting is that my father's legacy has led me to have become part of the Sikh network. So the Sikh network launched the Sikh Manifesto, first time it's ever done, but actually it's a collective of Sikh professionals that are under different pathways and journeys into Sikhi but want to give back to their communities. So we've done a lot of events, we've done women in politics events, so we've partnered with people like Ernst & Young, PwC, Samuel Council, to really look at how we can engage more BAME women and Sikh women into politics in different ways. We had the first ever Gurpurab of Guru Nanak Dev Ji celebrated in Parliament, and that was beautiful to recognise given his message around equality. And we launched the 350 Sikh Women campaign, which was launched at the same time with the 350th Prakash of Guru Gobind Singh. And that was really about recognising the women in our history, because there are amazing examples, and then the women of the movement. And then we celebrated women in this country, and it was amazing how women are excelling in this country that we never hear anything about. So that was a real great privilege to be part of that campaign. For me, being part of the Sikh network was, it's brought me together with people that my father talked about and looked up to. There are people in our community like Dabinderjit Singh. He's the Director of National Audit Office. He's a person that I think I grew up with his name being mentioned all the time. So to finally work with him, to meet him, our highest ranking civil servant, but one of the most humble Sikhs I've ever met, I have to say. It's a real honour. It's amazing how the whole journey kind of, there's a kind of closure, a circle around how you connect with the people that were part of your journey when you're growing up, but you never realise it. So for me, I feel that whilst I've lost my dad, I've gained a real family with the Sikh network and individuals there that I feel very close to. I'm very privileged to work closely with. But actually, they've given me a platform and, given me support. So, whatever seva I can do, it's just been amazing, really.